I was born in the Philippines to missionary parents, and I was the baby of 5. I have 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters, and we're extremely close. And I was blessed because I just have the best parents in the world. And for me, being able to have a role model like my dad to look up to, not because of what he said, but because of what he did, and the actions that he lived out in front of me every day, of how to be a man, of how to treat your wife, of how to live out what you preach, how to be passionate about something, how to make a difference in this world. And I was truly blessed to have 2 wonderful parents.
Yeah, I remember, when was it? I guess it was the last Super Bowl that you and your mom were on that ad, and people were all, liberals were hollering about it all around the country and so forth. But God used that for the benefit of the ad, didn't He?
He did. This past football season, I got asked, someone came up to me and thought of the idea of doing a commercial with me and my mom's story. I thought about it, and I talked to my parents, and we decided that, if it can save one baby, it would be worth it. It would be worth all the criticism, and it would be worth everything that we had encountered through it, and we decided to do it. So after I got done playing college football, we filmed the commercial, and it was to air on the Super Bowl.
I call him my miracle baby. He almost didn't make it into this world. I can remember so many times when I almost lost him. It was so hard. Well, he's all grown up now, and I still worry about his health. With all our family's been through, we have to be tough. Timmy, we're trying to tell our story here.
Sorry about that, Mom. You still worry about me, Mom?
Well, yeah, you're not nearly as tough as I am.
And up to the time the commercial aired, it had already had 2 billion impressions just from people talking about it. And now today it already has 5 billion impressions. I can't even count that high, but it was pretty special to see how God used that. And they did a survey about 3 weeks after the commercial aired, and that survey said that 5.5 million people, because of that, changed their stance on pro-life.
Really?
Yeah.
5.5 million. Praise God.
Now, after Tebow saw the game-winning field goal split the uprights, he took a knee and said a quick prayer. Well, that quick prayer is now turned into a movement. Tebowing has become the new planking. And last week, people all over the world have taken pictures of themselves saying a prayer on one knee. Most of these pictures can be seen on what else? Tebowing.com. Now, according to the blog, Tebowing is as simple as this. Get down on a knee and start praying, even if everyone else around you is doing something completely different. So feel free to start Tebowing as soon as possible.
For a lot of people, football is religion. But with his expressions of Christian faith on and off the field and his breathtaking come-from-behind wins, NFL quarterback Tim Tebow has single-handedly changed the national conversation about spirituality and sports. Tonight, Tim Tebow goes one-on-one with Hannah Storm of our sister network ESPN. Hannah?
Thanks, Terry. Tim Tebow may not have led his Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl this Sunday, but that doesn't mean he didn't have an extraordinary year, crossing over from NFL star to cultural phenomenon. Today, I had a chance to sit down with him for a wide-ranging interview about football, family, and faith.
He's only 24 years old, but in just his second season in the NFL, Tim Tebow has become much more than just a football star. He's become a phenomenon.
You've actually been in, car chases?
No, they're just running, trying to catch the car.
Oh, my gosh. Geez, trying to get you to autograph stuff or whatever.
He's not the best quarterback in the NFL, but he's had the most dramatic victories. And some are wondering if this is the reason why.
I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I just have to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Tebow is deeply religious.
What's the craziest question that you've been asked?
There's been some intense ones, some intense questions.
Does God decide who wins football games?
I heard a cool quote one time from Abraham Lincoln when talking about the Civil War, whether God was on the Union side or he wasn't, and he said, it's not a matter of whether, God is on our side, it's a matter of where we're on God's side.
His story is already legend. Tebow was born to evangelical missionaries in the Philippines, the youngest of 5. His mother was ill when pregnant and told to abort him, but refused, as told in this controversial Super Bowl ad in 2010.
I call him my miracle baby. He almost didn't make it into this world.
Tebow wears his faith on his sleeve and on the field, where he goes down on one knee and prays at the end of games. A move so well known, it's become part of our national lexicon.
You kneel down, what is now known as Tebowing. Tell me about that moment.
Well, for me, that's just, it's a great opportunity in a public platform to get on a knee and humble myself and thank the Lord for all the blessings that He has put in my life. I'm pretty sure I'm not the first athlete to get on a knee and pray, but it's something that I do more for myself than for anybody else.
It's more of a personal conversation between you and God?
Absolutely.
It's a tradition that goes back to his years at the University of Florida, where Tebow won 2 national championships and the Heisman Trophy.
I just went to the corner of the end zone and got on a knee just so I'm a little bit by myself. I've been doing that for the last 6 or 7 years. And I guess this year it just kind of caught on a little bit more.
Just a little. It became a phenomenon.
Well, I've heard that the greatest form of flattery is imitation. But I think just that prayer is being talked about is pretty cool.
And people are talking about many things, including the fact that Tebow says he's abstaining from sex until marriage. And then, of course, there's Tebow hating, a sport in and of itself, with many saying football is no place to proselytize. Listen to this rant from comedian John Oliver.
If I was in a room with Tim Tebow and Bin Laden, and I had a gun with 1 bullet in it, I'd shoot Bin Laden. I'm not a monster. But if I had 2 bullets, I'd shoot Tim Tebow first.
Was there anything that really bothered you? Any of the criticism or nasty comments? Anything that got to you?
Well, to be honest, not really. No matter what happens, you're always going to have, those critics and those haters, and you just have to learn how to deal with that. And I think I have, and accept that.
Why do you think that you're so polarizing?
I'm not sure. I think a little bit has to do with my faith, but I'm not sure.
It also has to do with his football skills. There was talk the Broncos might trade him or even cut him before the season, because they didn't think he was up to the job.
He's not cut out to be a quarterback. You've heard that your whole life.
I have. And, it's been something that, now we laugh about and can joke about, but the whole time there has been those obstacles and that adversity to overcome. And it's like, no, my dream's to be the quarterback.
A dream renewed when the Broncos finally gave him his shot. Tebow reeled off 6 straight victories, 4 of them stunning comebacks, in which he seemed to will his team to win, leaving some to wonder about the power of prayer, as in this game against the Chicago Bears in December.
Our God is an awesome God.
I think you were singing a hymn, right?
Possibly.
Something.
I know God's graced me with just a wonderful voice, and so try to make a joyful noise,
Your voice
No, I really don't have a good voice at all, but
that could be one of your faults.
Tebow mania reached fever pitch in January. A shocking playoff upset against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There was sort of a funny coincidence in that you passed for 316 yards. Put a semicolon in there. It's John 3:16. But that's a Bible verse that you wore on your eye black in college.
Exactly 3 years earlier to the day.
It's very meaningful to you.
It was. That verse is very meaningful to me. Through the next day and a half, I believe, 94 million people Googled that verse.
Although if you look at Google searches, you're actually more popular than Jesus.
I don't think that's a good thing.
Although his popularity has increased 50% since your playoff run on Google.
Nice. That's good. And he knows this because he created you.
At his core, Tebow is a man who lives his faith. In addition to his missionary work in the Philippines, where he's building a hospital, he regularly spends time with sick children at his games, even after a tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs.
What about the little kid that was Tebowing while chemoing?
Joey Norris is his name, and he's a great kid. We lost, and we weren't sure if we were going to make the playoffs. But to be able to put everything into perspective of hanging out with Joey before and after the game, especially after the game, after that loss, I still have a kid who's fighting for his life. I can choose to, sulk and pity after this loss, or I can choose to make him smile and be a part of his life. And, for me to try to invest in him, I know he definitely helped me more than I helped him on that night.
That kind of interaction is what Tebow says his life is really all about. He just tunes out the critics and all the hoopla as well and focuses on his faith, his teammates, and of course those kids.